the dim glow of an upscale Manhattan restaurant. Elena Voss stared at her untouched glass of Merlot, the crimson liquid swirling like the storm of regret in her chest. At 38, she was the youngest CEO of a Fortune 500 tech firm, a titan who commanded boardrooms with a single glance. But tonight, on what was supposed to be her first blind date in years, she sat alone, abandoned by a man she'd never even met. The waiter had already offered a sympathetic refill twice, and the empty chair across from her mocked her like a ghost from her past. Successful in business, failure in love, she whispered to herself, fighting back the tears that threatened to shatter her iron facade. Little did she know, fate was about to rewrite her story with the soft patter of tiny feet and a silence that spoke volumes. Elena had built her empire from the ground up. Orphaned young, she'd clawed her way through Ivy League scholarships and cutthroat internships, turning Voss Innovations into a beacon of AI-driven solutions that revolutionized industries. But success came at a price. Endless nights in the office, relationships reduced to calendar invites, and a heart armored against vulnerability. Her best friend Mia had set up this blind date with a charming entrepreneur named Mark, insisting Elena needed more than quarterly reports to fill her life. "You're not just a CEO, Elle. You're a woman who deserves love," Mia had said. Yet here Elena was, checking her phone for the umpteenth time. No messages, no apologies. The humiliation burned hotter than the candle flickering on the table. As she signaled for the check, ready to retreat to her penthouse solitude, the restaurant door swung open with a gust of autumn wind. In walked a man in his mid-30s, ruggedly handsome with tousled brown hair and a worn leather jacket that screamed practical dad rather than corporate shark. He held the hand of a little girl, no older than 6, with wide blue eyes and a cascade of curly hair tied in mismatched ribbons. She clutched a stuffed rabbit to her chest, her small face scanning the room with quiet curiosity. The man, Alex, as Elena would soon learn, glanced around, his expression a mix of exhaustion and determination. "Sorry, sweetie," he murmured to the girl. "Daddy thought this was the pizza place. Google Maps strikes again." The hostess approached them, explaining the upscale nature of the venue, but the girl, Lily, tugged at her father's sleeve, pointing insistently at a dessert display near Elena's table. Alex sighed, his shoulders slumping under the weight of single parenthood. "All right, one treat, but then we're out." As they settled at the bar nearby, Lily's eyes locked onto Elena's table. With a boldness that belied her silence, she hopped down and approached, her tiny fingers signing something in the air. Elena blinked, caught off guard. The girl didn't speak. She communicated through gestures and a notepad she pulled from her pocket, scribbling, "Pretty lady sad? Ice cream?" Elena felt a lump form in her throat. No one had called her pretty lady in years, certainly not with such innocent sincerity. I'm okay, sweetheart. What's your name?" Lily wrote it out in wobbly letters, Lily. Alex hurried over, apologetic. "I'm so sorry, she doesn't usually approach strangers. Lily's mute, has been since her mom passed 2 years ago. Trauma, the doctors say. We're working on it." The words hung in the air like a fragile bridge. Elena, who had lost her own parents in a car accident at 15, felt an unexpected kinship. No apology needed. "I'm Elena, and honestly your daughter's the brightest spot in my evening." Alex introduced himself, explaining he was a freelance graphic designer raising Lily alone after his wife's battle with cancer. They'd been en route to a casual dinner when the mix-up occurred. What started as a polite exchange evolved into Alex joining Elena at her table, purely to let Lily enjoy a sundae, he insisted. But as the evening unfolded, conversation flowed like a river long dammed. Alex shared stories of Lily's world, how she spoke through drawings and sign language, her love for butterflies and bedtime stories he invented on the fly. Elena opened up about her own isolation, the boardroom battles that left her triumphant but empty. "I thought power would fill the void," she admitted, her voice cracking for the first time in months. Lily, sensing the shift, climbed onto the booth and handed Elena a crayon sketch from her backpack, a stick figure woman with a crown, labeled Queen Elena. Tears welled in Elena's eyes. For the first time, she didn't feel like a CEO. She felt seen. What began as a failed blind date blossomed into unexpected connection. Over the next weeks, Elena found herself rearranging her schedule. Not for mergers, but for park outings with Alex and Lily. She learned American Sign Language basics, delighting Lily with clumsy attempts that ended in giggles. Alex, with his easy laugh and unwavering patience, chipped away at Elena's walls. He wasn't intimidated by her success. He admired it, even as he gently challenged her workaholic tendencies. Life's not a sprint, Elena. Sometimes you need to stop and chase butterflies. But challenges loomed like shadows. Elena's company faced a hostile takeover bid from a rival firm, demanding her undivided attention. Late nights turned into all-nighters, and she canceled a planned weekend trip to the zoo with Alex and Lily. "I get it," Alex said over the phone, his voice tinged with disappointment. "Your world's big, ours is small." The words stung, echoing her fears of inadequacy. Worse, Lily's mutism stemmed from deeper trauma, witnessing her mother's final moments in the hospital. Therapy sessions were helping, but progress was slow, and Alex worried he'd never hear her voice again. The turning point came during a stormy evening. Elena was in a high-stakes video call, negotiating with investors, when her phone buzzed incessantly. It was Alex. "Lily's having a meltdown. She won't stop signing your name. Can you come?" Heart pounding, Elena ended the call mid-sentence, a first in her career, and raced to their modest apartment. She found Lily curled on the floor, sobbing silently, her notepad filled with scribbles. "Mommy gone. Scared." Alex looked defeated, his eyes red-rimmed. She had a nightmare. Remembers the hospital beeps. Elena knelt beside Lily, wrapping her in a hug. Drawing on her own buried grief, she signed slowly, "I lost my mommy too. It hurts, but love helps." For hours they sat together, Elena sharing stories of her parents through drawings and gestures. As dawn broke, Lily looked up, and for the first time in 2 years whispered a single word, "Elena." The room froze. Alex's tears flowed freely, and Elena felt a dam break inside her, a flood of emotion she'd suppressed for decades. In the aftermath, resolutions unfolded with quiet grace. Elena delegated more at work, restructuring her team to reclaim her life. The takeover bid failed, not through brute force, but through innovative partnerships she forged with renewed clarity. Alex, inspired by Elena's strength, pursued a passion project, illustrating children's books about overcoming loss, with Lily as his muse. Their relationship deepened, evolving from chance encounter to profound partnership. Elena proposed a year later, not with a diamond, but with a custom sign language ring engraved with family. As they stood in a sunlit park, watching Lily chase butterflies with newfound chatter, Elena reflected on that empty blind date. It wasn't a failure, it was an opening. Life's greatest joys often arrive unannounced, wrapped in the unexpected. In a world that prizes plans and power, true connection thrives in vulnerability, reminding us that love isn't about perfection. It's about showing up, even when the chair across from you is empty, and in that showing up, everything can change.